Hello everybody. Today I'm going to do a little rambling about my son's liver transplant, where we're at and what it's like to go through it. We're on, let's see, his transplant was on the 4th of January. He got liver failure on the 1st. And it's now the 18th of April, I think. So about 4 months almost. And the liver we got was from a drug overdose, female, 25, and she had mono virus, Epstein-Barr virus. It was dormant, but kind of like shingles, when you're under a lot of stress, it can come back. So that's basically what's happened. The stress of the liver transplant and all the medications he's on, and everything we've been through, basically, he got mono. And then I got sick with, I don't know what, but some kind of flu about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I was out of work for a week, and I self-quarantined, which worked pretty well, but somehow he got sick. Not sure how. I don't think I had strep. My symptoms were slightly different. I had a high fever, or a medium fever, and mine was in my lungs and sinuses, in my ears, and my throat. His has only been in his sinuses, in his ears, and his throat, and he has not had any fever to speak of. I'm still coughing, as you can tell. He's pretty wiped out and pretty depressed. It's kind of been hard on him. So for about 2 weeks now, or a week and a half, he got sick about a half week after I did. He's been pretty wiped out, and sometimes it's a struggle to get him up and get him moving, but you don't want to push too hard, because that just adds stress, and stress is not your friend when you've got mono, or liver transplant for that matter. So it's basically like dancing. You're dancing and trying to juggle. The whole thing has been a balancing act from start to finish up to now. The medications, the risks versus benefits, is a constant juggle. So that's where we're at. Now, he's homeschooled, so we don't have a lot of pressure from the school, teachers or anything like that. His grandmother's a retired school teacher, and she teaches a few different children in her home log cabin out in the country. It's an ideal homeschooling situation. It's like Little House on the Prairie or something. She's got horses and chickens and goats and stuff. Pond, 120 acres, wooded, creek, hay fields. It's beautiful. So it's great for children for homeschooling. He takes a standardized test. He's age-wise, he's in 5th grade, but the stuff that he's actually working on is 6th grade work. He aces all of his standardized tests. He's learning Latin. He's gifted with music by God's grace, so we're very blessed with him, but he's definitely got a lot of struggles to deal with. Now, he's not our only child. I've got 6 kids and 2 grandchildren, but he's definitely sucking up a lot of the attention right now. So it's not just a struggle for him, it's really a struggle for everybody in the family. We're very blessed that the grandparents, both, especially the grandmothers, have stepped up and helped out quite a bit. So my mom and my wife's mom do a lot to help out. The GoFundMe money runs out pretty quick, especially with today's inflation prices. So that lasted for about 2 months, and now my wife and I are back to our strict budgeting ways. You know, I'm okay, but I don't have any vacation or sick time to speak of because I used it all up when he was in the hospital. So, like, I took today off to take care of him because my wife needed to work. So I'm taking time off without pay. You know, I'm not going to cry about it. God's blessed us and we're doing okay. But if you have any way whatsoever to arrange your budget to live beneath your means and squirrel away what you can and become your own bank and borrow your own money against yourself and then pay it back with interest and constantly invest it and turn it over to be your own bank, so you don't get yourself sucked into a quicksand black hole or something financially. I can't recommend that enough. I don't know if you can tell, but we've done a lot of work on my orchard. I've torn out a lot of brush. I'm still building my raised beds, and of course the chicken coop burned down, and I tried to put together a cheap greenhouse. If you get one of these cheap plastic greenhouses, plan on using Gorilla Glue on all the joints when you put it together. I had it weighed down and tied down on top of that, and the wind still caught it and tore it apart. It's not a big deal. Nothing's really broke. I can fix it probably in an hour or two of gluing everything back together, but it's just kind of a hassle. So if you do that, if you do go that cheap route like I did, trying to save a few bucks and get ahead, and then just plan on gluing it together when you do it. You're still gonna have to tie it and weigh it down. I just kind of let it go. I'm not that stressed about it. I don't really have my beds ready yet for a lot of seeds, so a lot of stuff I'm doing is still preparatory. I let my asparagus go again this year. I didn't really harvest much of it. I've been too busy, but that's okay. Rhubarb's looking good. I got a bunch of volunteer peach trees and elderberries in the background. They're doing real well. This is my volunteer walnut, which some squirrel gifted me, which was very nice. Chickens are gone because of the fire, but I still have a coop. So after my son's through the God willing, through the danger zone of being on all these immunosuppressant drugs, we'll probably get a few more chickens back. Maybe not as big of a flock as we had last time, since we don't have the big coop, but we'll have a few. It'll be enough for our needs. Peach trees and apple trees are all looking good. The blackberries looking good. So everything's going well as far as the gardening goes. It's a fun hobby. But yeah, the health part though, that's a lot more challenging. And having a positive mental attitude. I can't tell you how important prayer life is. It's vital. Otherwise you worry yourself to death. And because of my extensive background and history working with handicap, violent psychotics, and hospice, and being an emergency medic and rescue firefighter, I learned a long time ago you just got to turn things over to God and just focus on procedure, what you need to get done. You just do that and let God handle the rest. God bless the doctors for the efforts they make, but they don't really practice medicine anymore. The medical system has kind of gotten everything between the insurance companies and the medical pharmaceutical companies. They pretty much got everything locked down to profit stuff. It's not. They don't practice medicine a lot. By my experience, I've had to do my own research and find my own solutions for most of my problems, despite going to the doctors, a different doctor, several times, and I've talked about that before. But you're going to have to, if you want to take care of your family and your medical needs, you're going to have to learn basic doctoring skills, old school stuff, herbology, basic treatments, old school treatments, gargling salt water, gargling honey, when to do what and how to do it. maintaining your own healthy diet, nutrition, treating gut problems, wound care. A lot of that stuff you're going to have to learn how to do yourself, because 9 times out of 10, based on my experience and observations with other patients I've taken care of, most doctors today are Google doctors. You go in and they look up, they see stuff regularly, the same stuff, and they just hand you pills, medicine, over the counter or pharmaceutical, and they don't really give you a whole lot of advice or input on basic nutrition or natural therapeutics, which is highly effective if you do it properly. So we've definitely been using that with my son. For example, his mono, they don't plan on doing anything until he's in. Basically, what we were told is that until he's in an emergency state, there's not much they're going to do. We basically just have to fend for ourselves, and then when he gets really sick, and then they'll admit him to the hospital and then put IV antivirals and antibiotics to get it back under control. So be mentally and physically prepared for that stuff. It doesn't matter whether you have a organ transplant or not. Just taking care of your family. You need to understand these things, because it's very different from when I was a kid. You know, I was birthed by one of the last home visit general practice doctors in the county, and they don't do that anymore. He would do home visits, and I remember going and seeing him when I was like in my pre-teens for stuff, and his treatments a lot of times weren't very pleasant because they were old school, but they were very effective. And I can't say the same about going to the doctors now, because now you go to the doctors and they'll give you an antibiotic, and half the time the antibiotics don't work. Basically just pill pushers, but more or less. Now, you know, I'm not trying to criticize the doctors, that they're doing what they're trained to do, what they're taught to do, but like I've talked about before, our education system has seemingly gotten way off track. So buyer beware. You're gonna have to educate yourself. Definitely say your prayers. Alright, so that's a little update on what's going on with us and my son. Sorry I haven't been doing the Bible readings and saint readings lately because I've been really busy. That's about all I can tell you right now. So pray for me, sinner. God bless. Over now.